in a scene that underscores the growing disconnect between the Labour leadership and sections of the British public. Thousands gathered near the Houses of Parliament over the weekend, erupting into chants of Keir Starmer's "a wonker" that echoed down the embankment and across social media. Videos circulating online show a sea of British flags and placards condemning the Labour leader, with chants breaking out spontaneously, fueled by frustration over Starmer's perceived fence, sitting on key issues from Gaza to economic policy. The footage, widely shared by both left-wing critics and right-wing populists, has ignited debate over Starmer's leadership ahead of a general election that could redefine Labour's future. For many who joined the chants, this moment is less about orchestrated protest and more about grassroots anger. "We're fed up with politicians who promise change but deliver the same old establishment lines," said Michael, 34, a former Labour voter who stood outside Parliament draped in a St. George's cross. "Starmer talks about working people but won't commit to real change, and people see right through it." While Starmer has attempted to position Labour as a competent, moderate alternative to the Conservatives amid the Tories' internal chaos, critics argue he has abandoned the party's working-class route. Policies on immigration, housing, and public spending have been labeled by some within his own party as tepid and designed to avoid offending the Daily Mail, leaving a vacuum where meaningful vision should be. Even within Labour, rumblings of discontent are growing. MPs on the party's left have voiced concerns that Starmer's refusal to commit to bold economic reforms risks demotivating the very voters Labour needs to return to power. Meanwhile, on the streets, this anger has coalesced into crude but clear messaging. The chants are blunt, but they reflect a deep sense that Starmer is failing to inspire trust or hope. Polls still place Labour ahead, but political analysts warn that these public displays of discontent could foreshadow a deeper crisis if left unaddressed. "It's not just a protest chant, it's a warning sign," notes Dr. Eleanor Hughes, a political analyst at King's College London. "When people feel they have no real alternative, they disengage, and that's dangerous for any party that expects to lead." For now, the Labour leader has remained silent on the chants, focusing on attacking Conservative failures while promising stability under a Labour government. But stability alone may not be enough to capture the imagination of a disillusioned public hungry for genuine change. As the election clock ticks down, the scenes outside Parliament serve as a raw reminder that political capital can vanish as quickly as it is built, and that for many on the ground, Keir Starmer's promises aren't enough to drown out the chant that is now ringing across Westminster.
And their inefficiency is off the scale. As I say, this hasn't just been a bad year, it's been a shockingly catastrophic year. And today, the pollster guru, John Curtis, has said so, that this has been the worst first year by any British Prime Minister in history, and that's in terms of polling. It is quite extraordinary how bad they've been, isn't it?
I mean, it has just been one disaster after another from the earliest days of this administration, you know, plunged as it was into those summer riots, which was so catastrophically mishandled by Keir Starmer, the cover-up over Southport, the denigrating of millions of furious and deeply upset voters as far-right thugs, you know, on and on and on it's gone, the tanking of the economy. You know, we could sit here and list all that stuff, the winter fuel fiasco, on and on. And just Keir, but really, what does it boil down to? It boils down to Keir Starmer's personality and his inadequacies as a leader of our country. And I remember watching him on a couple of interviews, some of those big prime ministerial, they were auditions really, because at the time he was leader of the opposition in the run-up to the election a year or so ago. I remember watching him and thinking to myself, my God, this guy is going...
Labour's honeymoon is over before it even began, as Keir Starmer is facing a brutal assessment of his shaky start at no 10, with polling expert insiders declaring it the worst start of any new prime minister in modern times. Speaking on the Kevin O'Sullivan Show, journalist Isabel Oakeshott did not hold back, describing Starmer's opening weeks in Downing Street as an incompetent catastrophe and extraordinary in how bad they've been. "This isn't just about minor missteps," Oakeshott told Olivan's listeners. "This is a government that came in with a huge mandate, a public desperate for change, and within days they've shown themselves incapable of handling the basics, let alone the big promises." The comments reflect a growing frustration within media and political circles, as Starmer's government fumbles with strikes, public sector negotiations, and foreign policy confusion, while failing to articulate a clear economic vision beyond platitudes. Critics point to a series of embarrassing U-turns and delayed decisions that have made the government appear hesitant and unprepared despite years in opposition. Starmer's defenders argue that the challenges facing the crippling nays, backlogs, economic stagnation, and an overstretched public sector would test any new prime minister, and that the government needs time to implement long-term reform. However, the optics of indecision have left even Labour supporters worried that the window for change is already closing. Meanwhile, Oakeshott's comments have gone viral on social media, fueling criticism from both the left and right, with many pointing to Labour's cautious positioning on immigration, defense, and economic policy as evidence of a party afraid to lead boldly. For now, Starmer's team insists they are laying the groundwork for delivery, urging the public to judge them over the course of their term. But as Oakeshott's scathing remarks demonstrate, the narrative of competence that Starmer has built his career upon is already at risk, and the public's patience for excuses may be wearing thin faster than Labour anticipated.